Often when you're talking about affordable watches, there are a number of brands that often enter the conversation. Brands like Zelos, Seiko, Citizen, a bunch of really good micro brands. However, there is one brand that consistently enters the conversation, and that is Long Island watches. Long Island watches are actually local to me because I live on Long Island, and I'm lucky enough to have one of their new watches in to show you guys. It is called the Roslyn, and it's a Dressy diver. I have all three versions to show you guys, so let's flip the camera and take a look at a very high quality, affordable Dressy diver from Islander Watches. Today I have not one, not two, but three Islander watches to show you guys. These were lent in to the channel by Marc over at longislandwatches.com. I will put a link not only to his YouTube channel, but of course his website where you can actually buy one of these watches if you are interested. So as I mentioned, this is a sort of new release. This was released, I think, a few months ago. It's called the Roslyn, and it's a Dressy diver. This is basically the entire lineup. You have a gold PVD coated version. This is sort of in a rose gold tone. You have a tobacco brown dial or a chocolate dial, and then you have a chocolate colored bezel. It's a little bit darker than the dial, and it really does contrast really, really well. Of course, you're getting all the same tone indices and hands as well. And then we have this version right here. This is the two-tone version, so it's in stainless steel and gold PVD. You're getting a blue dial and blue bezel. It has a beautiful bright blue dial and blue bezel. Again, you're getting gold tone indices and hands, and of course markings in that bezel. This gets a Jubilee style bracelet, while this gets a President style bracelet. All three of these watches have different bracelets, even though they're in the exact same line of watches. Now, this is the most traditional version of this watch, I would say, without any gold on it. However, it is PVD coated. This is a gunmetal version that gets a black dial with a glossy black bezel. Now, all the bezels on here are glossy because, like I said, this is a dress diver. This does not get a date, which of course I love because I never use the date function. This is around a 41 millimeter watch. So if you actually measure it at its bezel, it's 41 millimeters. However, at the case, you have this area that sort of sticks out on either side because you have crown guards. So it wears a little bit bigger than a 41 millimeter watch. I would say it wears like a 42 millimeter watch. However, all three of the bracelets, no matter what the style is, you are getting female end links. So you do get a true lug to lug, and I think the lug to lug is around 46 millimeters and change. So, 47 millimeters and change. You do get drilled lugs, a very large crown at 6.7 millimeters, and the thickness is just over 13 millimeters at 13.3 millimeters. All three watches measure in exactly the same. You do get 200 meters of water resistance. This is a Dressy diver, so technically you don't need 200 meters of water resistance, but why not? So that's the black version. That's the black PVD coated version. Then there is the gold PVD coated version. Now, I would say this is probably the best looking out of the bunch, although gold isn't my thing, like a full gold bracelet. I would wear this on a strap though. I think like a brown leather strap would look phenomenal on this, especially considering the gold tones with those brown tones. So you have that brown tone in the bezel and of course that dial. The indices are all applied. You have 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8, and everything else is a baton. And then you have fence post hands and a lollipop on that second hand. All of those are filled with lume. And then you have applied everything. So basically the logo is applied. It says automatic and 200 meters of water resistance. Really a beautiful dial. And you have a very sloped chapter ring on here. It just has a minute track. Sapphire crystal, of course, and a screwed in case back and screwed in crown. The bracelet itself, you do have somewhat of a generic push button, fold open, clasp with a little bit of micro adjust, only 3 positions, and that does close very nicely. Everything is functional, obviously, but I would like to see a little bit nicer of a clasp, although this is not a bad clasp and it is very, very functional. It is signed with the Islander logo right there, the same logo that you will find on the crown, which of course again is screwed in because you do have that 200 meters of water resistance. These are ceramic bezels, and let's listen to the action. So very, very nice bezel action on these. Sounds very nice and feels a lot like a Seiko. Of course, that is not a bad thing in my opinion. The bezels are knurled and so is the crown, so they are very, very grippy. Sort of reminds me of a Shogun a little bit, the case, because you have this little area that comes out, but it could also look like a Nautilus maybe. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it's a kind of cool design. It's kind of balanced by this crown guard that you have on this side as well. You have brush on the sides, and then you have a really nice thick line of polish on the top and the bottom of the case. The Jubilee style bracelet is really nice. Everything is solid. And again, you have that same clasp with that fold over closure. Very, very nice and very functional. Very quickly, I'm going to show you the watch that I have on my wrist, and then we will do a lume shot. We'll talk about price as well. Well, today I have a very significant watch on my wrist. This is an Urwerk 10303 in white gold. A very heavy watch. It's basically a brick of white gold on your wrist, and then you have these satellites. Just a really cool watch. I would love to see this on a strap, but I'm not going to go ahead and try and change it onto a strap. I usually scratch lugs when I try and do that because I'm just not good at it, but I really like the bracelet on here. President style bracelet, gotta say style. I think it looks great. Here is the blue dial. This is the ISL 167. The gold version is the ISL 169, and the black PVD or gunmetal PVD coated version is the ISL 168. Again, these are in 41 millimeters. I would say they wear like a 42 millimeter. The bracelets are extremely comfortable because you have these female end links, so the lug to lugs are true lug to lugs of around 47 millimeters. Very wearable, everyday divers. Last but not least, and probably my favorite out of the bunch, is this charcoal colored or gunmetal colored version. These are around 13.5 millimeters thick with 200 meters of water resistance. I forgot to mention that as well. Well, there you go. Price on these are $329. I think it's a very good price considering all the little details that they've paid attention to here. We'll do lume in a minute, but I'm sure that the lume is pretty good because Marc is a lume junkie and I think he likes to put a lot of lume on his watches, so I think these will be pretty good as well. Well, the lume obviously very good on all three of the models. Basically equally, I think they're all equally as good. You have lume on the second hand. There is a lollipop that does have lume on it, which you guys know I like. Fence post hands very liberally applied with lume, and of course the indices also very liberally applied with lume. Obviously a little bit of a different color on the black or PVD coated gunmetal version, so that's sort of the minty blue version, and then the minty green versions are the two-tone and the all gold version. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. If you are interested in these watches, I will put a link down in the description below. Of course, I will put a link to Marc's channel, and I will put a link to his website where you can purchase these watches. I will put individual links for each one of the versions. Definitely check out his website if you are interested in watches in general, and of course his YouTube channel where he features a lot of the watches that he sells as well, but he features other watches and he does a lot of collaborations and cool stuff, so definitely check him out. Anyway guys, thank you for logging on. I will catch you guys in the next video.